The Last of the 20 by Joseph N. Wdowski. Todd. From the looks of the tent, it was not where they slept. It was more like a general-purpose communal center. On the east side was a large cast-iron stove with burners and 2 ovens. One of the young women was attending to it, feeding it wood from time to time to keep the stove burning. Near it were 4 outdoor picnic tables with attached bench seating. On the other end of the tent was a play section for the children and adults with some very dated toys from pre-virus times. In that area of the large tent were 4 folding tables with folding chairs. Each table had a board game set up on it. 2 of the tables had classic checkers, one with Chinese checkers, and the 4th table was an old chutes and ladder game. For lighting, they used old-fashioned lanterns with wax candles hanging from the tent roof. Even without his helmet on, it was obvious to Miller they had no understanding of any machines. Granted, they used much more technology than their mutant parentage, but it was all pre-industrial age. He guessed that the reason they kept horses was to help them to pull a plow. In the center of the tent was a pile of beanbag chairs. In the largest beanbag chair sat a young man that Miller guessed was maybe only a year older than him. Like the 3 other adult males, he too was lanky and frail-looking. He had a goatee beard. His eyelids were even dopier than the others. A topless young woman nursing an infant sat behind him. 2 other females sat beside the young man. In their early 20s, they were both very sensual-looking. The women's clothes were different than the other family members. Instead of wearing the rough hemp clothing, they were wearing only loincloths and skimpy tops made of soft llama wool. What they were wearing, unlike Lisa and the others, did not hide much. The young man, who was the center of their attention, was taking deep inhales from a bong. His clothes were the most different. He was wearing worn blue jeans and was shirtless with only an open suede vest. Around his head, he had tightened a light blue bandana. 1 male turkey tail feather stuck out on the right side of the bandana. Lisa approached him. "Todd, this is Commander Miller. He is an outsider from a far place called Manhattan Island." Todd looked up at Miller. He waved Miller to come closer. "Cool." Todd offered his bong to Miller. "Want a hit?" "No thanks." Miller dryly responded, already not liking this Todd character. "I want a hit." Lisa spoke out. "Sure, babe." Todd turned his attention to Lisa, offering her the bong. As she approached him to take a hit, he held the bong up for her. Todd reached his free hand around her, grabbing a handful of one of her firm, piku cheeks. "Enjoy, babe." Todd smiled. Todd grabbing Lisa, as he did oddly infuriated Miller. He began to reach for his sidearm. Seeing Miller's reaction, 124 very quietly whispered behind him, "Don't." Listening to the robot, he moved his gun hand away from his sidearm and instead firmly took hold of his gun belt buckle. After Lisa took her hit, Todd, with his hand still holding her piku, pulled her into him and gave her a deep kiss. 124 could sense that Miller was letting Todd's actions inflame him. "Don't. It is not your place." The robot again whispered from behind Miller. Miller closed his eyes for a moment and took a very deep breath to calm down. He knew 124 was right. He had just arrived here. He did not even know these people, especially Lisa. He thought to himself, "I need to control my emotions, not let my emotions control me." Ending her kiss with Todd, she turned to Miller, walked to him, and stood beside him. The drug having a noticeable effect on her, she wrapped both her arms around Miller's left arm. "I thought you would want to meet him, Todd." "Yeah, babe, of course, it's cool." Todd turned his attention to Miller, seeming completely unfazed by Lisa wrapping her arms around Miller. "So what's your deal?" "Here to trade." Miller was confused. "Trade?" "Yeah, we got food stuff from last harvest. They didn't take everything." Todd explained. "Who didn't take everything?" Miller inquired, although Lisa cuddling up to him was distracting him with mixed feelings. Part of him liked it a lot, but another part of him did not. She had just been making out with Todd, and she is now clinging to him. He thought Anna or Nora would never behave this way. Even Brandy would not warm up to him so drastically. It was as if Lisa had a switch inside her that suddenly flipped to a new setting. The parents. Todd said, sharing his bong with the other two women. We still have plenty. Want to trade? Is why you are here, no? Lisa, still holding Miller, looked up at him. I like you. Thanks. He replied, not believing her, even though he wanted to. He kept his eyes on Todd. I am just passing through. I am not here to trade. When you say, the parents, do you mean the mutants, the Nightwalkers? Who else is there to trade with? There are us and the parents. Todd took his bong back from the girls. It is that why they leave you alone. Miller was starting to piece things together. One of them old men. Do you trade with them too? You clearly seem to have no fear of anyone. No weapons, no defensive fortifications. Nothing. The mole men. Oh, the hairy leather jacket dudes. Todd turned to one of the girls. Babe, would you get me some munchies? Love to, Todd. She stood up to get him something to eat. Todd gave her a playful slap on her piku. Thanks, babe, you're the best. Todd explained, no, man. We don't trade with those dudes. The parents keep them in check. They just stay in their valley areas. No worries, man. No worries. I don't understand how you people know how to farm. 124 questioned Todd. Wow, that is cool. Your metal box talks. Todd said as the girl came back with what looked like beef jerky. Thanks, babe. Todd gave her a passionate kiss, pulling her down to sit on his lap. 124 gave a clearing voice sound to get Todd to refocus on him. Mutants do not farm. Who taught you how to farm? The young woman that was sitting on Todd's lap stopped kissing him to address the robot. Todd knows how to read. Don't all of you? Miller asked. Why would we? Todd knows stuff. He was the first to be sent out by the parents. She answered. Actually, I was surprised they didn't rip me apart. Todd replied. But I guess even though I didn't fit in, they still felt I was family. So, they exiled me, banished me. How old were you? Miller couldn't believe he was starting to feel a bit sorry for Todd. I think about 8 or 9, not really sure. Todd looked up as if he were trying to find the facts somewhere buried in his head. How could you survive on your own? Miller was thinking his story was unbelievable. I just walked. It was only a day later I saw lights in a building. Inside was a couple that kind of looked like me. I mean, they didn't look like my parents or mole men. More like us, like you two. The man was strong with much darker skin than us. The woman had black straight hair with small narrow black eyes. They took me in. Julius and his wife. 124 guessed. They taught me to read. I stayed with them for about 2 years. Then what? Miller did not like how his story was leading. He could not imagine Julius abandoning a young boy. After their third baby, the wife changed. I thought it would be best for her to be with the parents. We left one night, so I could lead her to them. They accepted her, but I was still banished. After helping his wife leave, I couldn't go back to the man and his daughters. I found this place. I found some books here on farming. The more the parents had some children that looked like me, I took them in, taught them what I learned from the books. We grow enough to feed ourselves, grow some great weed, party, had kids of our own, and from time to time we trade with the parents. I wonder why Julius never mentioned you. Miller said. Yeah, I think that was his name. Julius. Been a long time. Dude, you know him.